I was shooting in Goa. We were shooting for 3 days straight.
अच्छा
And on the third or fourth day, this is a gala night
अच्छा
where we were supposed to shoot a gala night, and Ranbir Kapoor was supposed to come there.
ओ
And I was excited. Like,
सही
fucking want to shoot this. Let's say I'm making X amount of money per day. This is my fee. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा ये 2x होगी या 3x होगी. I'll keep working hard. I'll have to upgrade. I'll have to do things. Like there is certain limits. इससे ऊपर तो नहीं होगा.
राइट
So then I started thinking, okay, if not this, then what? I think being good at something is one thing, but being obsessed
हाँ
is another.
राइट
I remember every day until and unless I don't find out how to do that particular thing,
राइट
my mind does not stop.
Oh.
Like I need to figure out ये कैसे होगा.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Branding and Building podcast. We are at episode number 11 today, and today we have a very special guest with us, who is Bhargav Jariwala. And Bhargav, majorly when your name comes into my mind, what happens is one of the quote that I remember always, like एनी टाइम, मतलब जब भी मेरे को ऐसा होता है ना कि लाइक भार्गव का दिमाग में आया तो ये कोट याद आता है. आई विल शेयर दैट कोट.
Sure.
It says that be so good they cannot ignore you, and that's what I really felt when I actually started to get in touch with you and going through your content. And I remember के last time नहीं बोल सकते, the first time when we met was around the meetup that Maddie was conducting, and I was yeah. So that was the major point, right?
Yeah.
And वहाँ पे there were a lot of photographers. There were around 30-40 photographers and
Easily.
a couple of models, and we were all shooting content. And of course, I was just trying to film a little bit of that and trying to compile the BTS for that, and very new to editing as well.
Yeah.
Myself, and I was just trying to learn. ठीक है, तो उसके हिसाब से आई वाज जस्ट टैगिंग अलोंग, राइट. और उस चीज़ के अंदर आई पर्टिकुलरली रिमेंबर दैट कि द फर्स्ट कपल ऑफ पोस्ट विच वर पोस्टेड बाय कपल ऑफ फोटोग्राफर्स विच वर देयर, वो देखा एंड वी फेल्ट के हाँ ठीक है कुछ है. एंड देन यू केम अप विद समथिंग, एक कुछ तो पोस्ट किया था, short video and probably couple of angles as well.
And the funny part is that I think it was around Independence Day.
Yeah, maybe
And
yes.
Today is also Independence Day.
Oh yeah, such a coincidence. Yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah.
now I think I completely forgot. I remember I made a short video from that meetup. I'm not sure if I posted any photos or something, but I made like a very short video.
अच्छा, but I particularly remember that कि 30-40 photographers, but you stood out, like clearly stood out कि भाई हाँ कुछ लाया, and everybody was talking about it. So that's when I started, like that was my first impression of you, and I started consuming your content in that sense, like whatever you try to produce.
That was the way long back. I don't even remember what I was doing, what was my mindset, and how was I doing that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, from there I picked this thing whole up, like video editing and stuff. Right.
But very fortunate that happened.
Thank you.
And that made me in contact
from
with
that,
you.
I also remember that was our first interaction.
Exactly. So I remember that, and still that today whenever something that Bhargav comes up with, I go and check what it is, right? And genuinely, whenever any sort of content that I've interacted with, कभी भी, like in DM में भी काफी time I would have connected, comments में भी कुछ का बहुत दिल से करता हूँ, like literally it is something that comes out like wow यार इसने कुछ किया है, I have to कुछ किसी को कोई कंप्लेन होती है, they can just go out and burst on somebody, but जब भी किसी को praise करना होता है, it takes a lot of effort, right?
For sure.
Or introverts like us, maybe I consider you as an introvert as well. So that way I think it is really hard for somebody like me.
No, I mean it means a lot. Like I used to get a lot of DMs when I was very active in the content. Recently, I am not. But till today's date, people come up to me, like just like you. You you telling me this after like 5 6 years,
6 7
and a
years
lot of
from you.
people till date they message me out of something happens, and then today I feel very grateful.
Hmm.
uh, like earlier I was like okay, good work, people are recognizing it, but today I just feel very grateful. Like even today you mentioned this, I
Right.
feel like I'm blushing.
No, I mean that's reality. I mean, I सच्चे दिल से ऐसा निकलता है कि
Yeah,
नहीं, like you have put in the work. You have actually went into that
exactly.
segment a lot
So
depth.
all those work,
Hmm.
it is today I'm realizing that
Hmm.
like the gratefulness I'm feeling is today. I
Hmm.
wasn't feeling it that like
Right.
during that or even near to those years.
Acha.
Even it's today I whenever I'm not involved in that whole process now,
Right.
and when I look back and people praise me or tell me something about it, I feel really good. And
Amazing.
now I realize that like I was so much into it.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. That's the whole thing that just brought back. Like I was just in the morning, I was thinking about ki, like Bhargav aa raha hai, and what made me connect with him at the first
Yeah,
place, and then
I
I
think then we
remember.
connected for many. Like I remember you wanted to do something around hip hop.
Ah, yeah,
Then we
absolutely.
spoke about some videos or some
Music
events that we
video and
want to
all that.
do
Yeah.
a lot.
Right, right. Makes sense. So I just wanted to understand
Hmm.
you as a person a little bit better. Maybe we'll start with the background, like
Sure.
how you come about, what kind of childhood you had,
Hmm.
where you were born and brought up, all of that. Maybe if you can just
Sure.
go through that
Yeah,
journey.
I think this will be the first time I'll be speaking like how,
Uh-huh.
when, where I come from.
Great.
So my background is very middle class background,
Hmm.
like typical middle class background. School, most of the school time I don't remember. I just remember very highlights of it.
Uh-huh.
So we changed like two schools.
Hmm.
Then after schools, around after 10th, I think I took diploma.
Mhm.
Me, two or three of my cousins were doing diploma. So my parents thought that's a great option
Right.
for an engineering, because they also thought, just like every other parent,
Yeah,
that
yeah, absolutely.
engineering is the option. Uh, and I was not, I was clueless. I don't even remember what I was
Right.
doing, what I wanted to do that time.
Hmm.
So I just saw parents told me that, suggested that they were not even
Yeah,
forcing me that you should
absolutely.
do that, but I was not even sure what I want to do
Hmm.
back then.
Hmm.
So and back then I remember I used to do a lot. I was into dancing, I
Hmm.
was into sketching,
Uh-huh.
and I was into sports also.
Acha.
Like a big time actively, I used to play volleyball.
Uh-huh.
So during the time when I needed to decide what I want to do after 10th,
Hmm.
so of course either 11th, 12th, or my cousins were doing diploma.
Right.
So they suggested this is a better option,
Right.
doing a diploma engineering.
Hmm.
And that time I explored what all I have for the engineering,
Hmm.
and then I realized out of all the engineering, I thought I'm good at sketching.
Acha.
So I thought civil engineering would be for me. I
Ah,
did not know what is civil engineering, so
right.
I thought it is architecture.
Right.
That's what I thought. And I lucky maybe I'm good at sketching,
Hmm.
maybe I know little bit of drawing and stuff.
Hmm.
So this makes sense.
Hmm.
And then did some research, spoke to cousins. They thought, okay, good industry XYZ. During
Right.
that time, one of my cousin, he passed out and he got a good package and stuff.
Hmm.
So
Uh-huh.
parents thought it's also good. I thought, ki, okay,
Hmm.
I mean, out of all this makes sense.
Hmm.
Then I started engineering. I did
Hmm.
diploma.
Right.
Through from there, I did 6 years of engineering, diploma, and then degree,
Acha.
civil engineering. And
Hmm.
each year I realized it. Each year I realized this is something else. This is something else. Like
Right.
I just started realizing from the first year only.
Right.
But it wasn't that I took a bad decision.
Hmm. Hmm.
I kept going,
Hmm.
and I was good at it also.
Right.
I passed at very good marks every
Hmm.
year. I was doing good.
Hmm.
I learned all the new things, and I got obsessed. Not
Hmm.
obsessed, but I learned, and it was interest. Some subjects was very interesting for me.
Right. Hmm.
I loved the whole maths, the new maths thing also, and all those things. Of course, drawing भी था कुछ थोड़ा बहुत.
Of course. Hmm.
So yeah, I mean from there, where I think around 2000, I don't remember the exact year, but around 14 15, I watched ये जवानी है दीवानी,
अच्छा.
और फिर उसका influence आज
अच्छा.
तक है.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I think from there I got exposed to, okay, ऐसा भी कुछ होता है, something called photography. And I
Hmm.
think during that time DSLR was also, introduced to general public.
Right.
Earlier, it used to be expensive and only like a professional or
Right.
could afford it. So I think during that time, Canon and other brands started releasing cameras which was affordable for general public.
Right.
So one of my friend got it uh,
And
in the
DSLR.
college, and this is the same time where Facebook started
Hmm.
growing up,
Hmm.
uh, and Instagram
Hmm.
just started to blow up, and people were like, "Oh, it's a new app, a new thing."
Right.
Everybody is putting their photo,
Hmm.
doing something. So
Right.
that time, the same thing. My friend bought the camera, this whole Instagram thing. Then we started going out, taking pictures.
Right.
That's my whole. That is when my whole interest started, like photo shoot, editing,
Right.
and from there, for almost next 3 4 years, I have no idea what I have done. But
Okay.
I was so obsessed with all of this.
Hmm.
I can't think of day to day life
Right.
from now.
Hmm.
But I knew this is all I used to do.
Right. Makes sense.
So yeah, from there, so 4 5 years, I don't know what I was doing.
Hmm.
I mean, not day to day life, but I know I was every day I was into all of this.
Hmm.
So I would not sleep late night. I will
Acha.
be on my system editing.
Hmm.
I did not have a system also. My uncle has a computer in his room.
Acha.
So I used to go in his room
Acha.
till late night while they are sleeping, and I'm doing
So
some
you.
bakchuri on the laptop.
Hmm.
So before I got introduced to photography.
Huh.
Then I got exposed to Photoshop,
Hmm.
and I learned photography before photo. I learned Photoshop before photography.
Acha.
Like the whole technicality of photography, I learned Photoshop first.
Hmm.
One of my cousins
Hmm.
friend was doing job at the studio or something, and he taught me basic of Photoshop.
Acha.
And from there, I picked up, and I remember every night I would watch a tutorial and
Hmm.
I'll make something,
Ah.
and that I used to do every day.
Acha.
Well, I was not doing anything great. What I was doing on Photoshop was I would search how to color my hair.
Acha.
That sounded cool. So from there, those small tutorials, I kept searching. ये कैसे करते हैं, वो कैसे करते हैं, and then since I was learning Photoshop and while watching all this tutorial, I got to know कि अच्छा graphic designing is also a part of Photoshop. It's not
Right.
just the photo editing. You
Uh-huh.
can do designing also.
Right.
So then learn that. From वो direction से I went so deep into designing also. I learned on the principle of designing and stuff.
Hmm.
साथ साथ में photo editing भी सीख लिया.
Right.
And then वहीं से photography and then
Hmm.
video editing,
Hmm.
then another level, next level, direction.
Hmm.
वो chain पूरा चलता गया.
Acha.
So it started from there.
Right. Right. Amazing, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's now that I sit down and think,
Hmm.
and now I know, I was so much into it.
Right. So
From,
that's what happens, right?
yeah.
You only connect dots after you're
Yeah.
looking back at it. So yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
So much. I mean, there's so much in this whole journey,
Hmm.
but this is the highlights I remember.
Highlights. Okay. Okay. And you're through and through here in Surat? Or-
Yeah.
Okay.
Born and brought up in Surat.
Hmm.
Almost been all my life in Surat. I was in Bombay for a year or a
Acha.
half
Uh-huh.
after I got professional into it.
Hmm. Right.
Now it's coming like all the moments
Hmm.
like popping up. I remember, fuck, there are a bunch of moments that just flash.
You can share some more.
What I was, in between this learning Photoshop photography,
Hmm.
I've done a job as a designer also, graphic
Uh-huh.
designer.
Okay.
Job was very basic, but at that time I was like, "Mil raha hai, kar lo."
Hmm.
This was, I think, during. I think I started learning Photoshop before diploma.
Acha. Okay.
Now that I recall,
Hmm.
because I knew Photoshop, I got a job of a designer, graphic designer,
Hmm.
and I remember I had to quit that job because my engineering was starting,
Oh. Okay.
or somewhere शायद तो बीच में break था या something.
Hmm. Hmm.
But that job was basically to remove background from products.
Acha.
That was
सही
the
है. Okay.
job. Major part, and the other part was like design of website banner or something.
Right.
But from there, I learned
A lot.
a bunch of other things.
Hmm.
कि what is the business? How do you like manage a business? क्या होता
Right.
है? वो सब. Did a bunch of other things in between photography, ये वो designing, photo shoot,
Hmm.
shooting for friends, family.
Hmm.
kept doing bunch of things, साथ में engineering भी चलता था, and it was good. It wasn't like कि I was bad at engineering or something. And there was one point I vividly remember. This is my last year of engineering,
Right.
degree, not
Acha.
diploma,
Uh-huh.
bachelor. Uh, Tomorrow is my final exam, and today I'm in Goa shooting.
Oh.
And this is the time. This is I started this whole learning phase was around when I was in second year of diploma.
Acha.
So it's 3 year of diploma and
Plus.
3 year of degree. So this is the 6 years
Right.
of the whole engineering. And in between I have done bunch of things. I started making money also.
Of course. Yeah.
And this was the time uh, I was shooting in Goa. This was an event, like a big Times group has
Right.
organized this event, and
Right.
this was in Goa, and we were shooting for 3 days straight.
Acha.
And on the third or fourth day, this is a gala night
Acha.
where we were supposed to shoot a gala night, and Ranbir Kapoor was supposed to come there.
Oh.
And I was excited, कि like, fucking
Sahi.
want to shoot this.
Uh,
And so tonight is the gala night. We were shooting in the morning, some other event stuff, and night around whatever 7, 8, or 9 p.m. was the gala night.
Right.
But I had to take my flight because tomorrow I have an
Oh.
exam, so I couldn't shoot the gala night. I had to take
Acha.
flight, come back Surat. I came in the night, went to college in the morning, give the exam.
So,
This is the moment. This is why my calling moment कि क्या करना है.
right.
But I was like कि 6 year कर ही दिए, जब 5 साल डाल ही दिए थे, तो लास्ट ईयर वाज मी स्ट्रेचिंग इट कि
बराबर.
कर लेते हैं वैसा. एंड पेरेंट्स वर लाइक कि कर लो,
बराबर.
इतना किया है तो दे हैड नो आइडिया व्हाट आई एम डूइंग. दे डोंट नो इसमें क्या होगा.
Right.
I
Back
was
then it
doing,
was.
I was making some little bit of money, so they were confident कि शायद ठीक है,
हाँ,
मतलब
होगा.
कर रहा है. And they thought कि अच्छा ये तो ठीक है, engineering तो कर ही रहा है,
Right.
and he is doing good.
Right.
तो वो तो they thought कि अच्छा engineering job good, like it's set है,
हाँ सही है सही है.
पढ़ भी रहा है ये सब, and side में ये भी कर रहा है.
हाँ.
तो they thought कि this is some extra thing that he is doing. And as I was passing years, I realized कि ये तो नहीं करना engineering. It's
अच्छा.
not that, it's not I'm bad at it, but I did not see myself doing it because I saw कि engineering करेंगे, ये होगा, पास आउट होंगे, जॉब लगेगी. And I saw people who were 1, 2, 3, 4 years
No.
older than me, and I said they are doing job, and I know how much they were making, and I was like, you know, this is
ये
not
नहीं होगा.
ये नहीं होगा. And I, it's not that, and I try to think further कि इसके बाद क्या,
Right.
like the maximum increment भी कितना ही होगा.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I like कि this is not making sense, and not making sense is because I am not fully into it, nor that I see a scope, because the only comparison for me was not people working in other companies, but people working in our college.
Right. हाँ.
तो प्रोफेसर को देखा, वो भी यहीं पढ़े थे,
हाँ.
यहीं जॉब कर रहे हैं.
Right.
And like कि ये तो नहीं होगा.
सही है सही है.
And then the other way I thought कि ना तो सिविल का बैकग्राउंड है, ना फैमिली बिजनेस सिविल
Right.
का अराउंड है,
हाँ.
तो कोई सेंस नहीं बनता है. बट डिलेमा तो था कि करे नहीं करे, यू डोंट नो ये कैसे चलेगा फोटोग्राफी एंड स्टफ. तो करते करते इंजीनियरिंग खत्म कर दी थी. बट बाय द एंड ऑफ द ईयर आई वाज सो कॉन्फिडेंस कि कुछ ना कुछ तो कर ही लेंगे.
सही है. Makes sense.
ये एंड देन एज सून एज आई पास्ड आउट, आज तक मैंने डिग्री नहीं ली है. माय डिग्री इज स्टिल विद द यूनिवर्सिटी.
Amazing.
कहीं नहीं. बिकॉज नो आई गॉट कॉन्फिडेंट. अब मुझे अभी तक याद नहीं है कि वो कहाँ से कॉन्फिडेंट आया था, बट फ्रॉम देयर एवरीथिंग वाज वर्किंग वेल.
That point in time you were realizing for sure that कि
नो,
ये तो
सो
बस.
आई रियलाइज कि ये तो नहीं करना है. आई वाज नॉट श्योर कि क्या करना है.
हाँ नो बोल दिया था
तो
कि
नहीं करना है.
हाँ
हाँ.
बराबर.
एंड देन थोड़ा आई वाज मेकिंग लिटिल बिट ऑफ मनी, so that was fine.
हाँ.
And then kept doing, and then dots connected. I met people, I saw them doing good in the same industry.
Right.
Met a lot of people. After seeing my work, they told me that you can do much better
Right.
because they have seen the whole path.
Right. Right.
So somewhere I got confident and then start doing thing. And then I think after college, after a few months, I invested in a heavy camera, like a heavy investment.
Hmm.
I think आज तक का सबसे heavy investment वही
अच्छा,
होगा मेरा.
okay.
I think I bought camera around 7-8 lakh
Oh,
का camera.
okay.
And my
Great.
father was not sure कि
अच्छा.
ये क्या कर रहा है.
Hmm.
And they based on his FD, I took the whole loan
Oh, okay.
of 7-8 lakh because during that time I started doing good,
Right.
making basic money. I एक
Hmm.
basic maths किया
Hmm.
कि इतना EMI है,
हाँ.
इतना भरने का है,
हाँ.
इतना तो हो जाता है.
बराबर.
मतलब कि कर लेते
हो
हैं.
जाएगा. बराबर.
And the whole thing, तो I think I wrapped the whole loan in 2 years.
अच्छा.
तो पूरा रैप कर दिया था.
Of course. This is one D or which
1DX,
camera was
1DX.
1DX. सही है.
I think so. Back that time I was delusional. I would say I was delusional. I was not rational enough.
Uh-huh.
Today I'm so like very much rational. But if I have to make that decision today, I wouldn't make it.
Right.
Because for that I need to be like some amount of delusion. अगर तब मैं सोचता रहता इतना
हाँ.
rational होता तो नहीं होता.
तो नहीं होता. सही.
So that part is still very confusing for me. कि what is it that why I'm, how can I go back and be delusional?
सही है.
But no, the other rationality is that it could be luck also. It's not
Makes
that it
sense.
worked out always.
Of course, I mean वो थोड़ा सा एक
Yeah,
portion
yeah.
रहता है.
Yeah, I mean this is pretty much the highlight I can remember. There is a bunch of other things after I started doing it professionally.
Right.
But उसके अलग it's a whole journey, like a different
Right.
whole journey.
Right. Makes sense.
This is basic of my background.
Makes sense. And when I meet people like you who are obsessed and who are doing one thing really well, तो मेरे को ना पहले ऐसा था, like I was also like back in the days I was like कि they are gifted in a way, like कि they have that sense कि कैसे कैमरा पकड़ना चाहिए, कैसे एंगल्स लेने चाहिए, ये वो. But now that we are talking, I can see that the background is like, you know, the 6 years of full engineering. You actually grinded a lot, and you learned a lot of skills around that time. That gave you that leverage of, you know.
I think it was the obsession, like
Obsession,
the
exactly.
obsession. I remember every day until and unless I don't find out how to do that particular thing,
Right.
my mind does not stop.
Oh.
I'm like I need to figure out ये कैसे होगा. I need to figure out कि ये color कैसे change होगा.
Right.
And then I would Google, YouTube, and figure out a way.
And I remember that उस time पे इतने ये presets, LUTs
नहीं.
वगैरह I don't see.
उस टाइम पे उतने ट्यूटोरियल भी नहीं थे.
हाँ, exactly. Nothing was there. Like I remember because मैं भी थोड़ा थोड़ा इंटरनेट से सीख के कुछ कर रहा था. And nowadays people are like यहाँ से एक उठा के ये रख दिया, ये इफेक्ट आ गया. And I was like, यार हम लोग
But
इसको.
everything has grown so much, so
Exactly.
so all the things has also evolved so much.
So much.
So
exactly.
yeah.
I feel the same. Like aesthetic game has gone to like multiple tangents, right? Back in the days, even 2016, 17, we are talking, and now like production quality has become. Aesthetics are like pretty
But
much.
I think now that I look back and try to analyze, I think that was the one thing that worked in my favor because there was not many people,
right,
and I figured that out by that time, so
Makes
it
sense.
worked in my favor. And especially in Surat,
yeah,
like there were not many people.
Absolutely.
So that I think I would consider in a way that was luck. Luck was like right time, right place. Wala luck.
Right. But of course, there's a lot of work
Yeah.
that you have.
Luck is basically, I mean, like if I were to do the whole same thing today, it might not work out.
Right. Makes sense.
So that in that condition, I say that that the luck
Timing
part
was-
was the timing.
Timing was right.
Because DSLR came out recently, a normal person started making videos,
Right.
started learning video editing. I think before that it was only film and the whole big advertisement and
Right.
stuff.
Right.
So this was very sweet spot.
Right. Makes sense.
And from there I picked the whole thing. And because I was so obsessed, I keep learning. And I learned so fast. And then because there was not many people, so I think the supply demand
Right.
kind of
right.
worked out also well.
Right. Makes sense. Great. I mean, great listening to this highlight because I always wanted to hear this. कि भाई कैसे क्या, and I think last time we met also, but we went on the professional tangent
we
and
spoke a
talked-
lot about
yeah
आगे क्या करना है.
projects and all that. So yeah, talking about projects, I think one of the major thing that I just in the morning I picked up your Instagram handle and I just tried to look up कि भाई भार्गव ने क्या क्या चीजें लिखी है. I'm sure there's a lot more to it than what is out there, but from what I could see, there are a lot of good brands like Budweiser hai, Sony Music. You shot a lot of music videos for great uh, musicians as well.
Yeah.
I think King is one of those people.
Yeah.
So tell me, like, how and what and when and what brought you there.
Yeah, I think I was doing all this Surat level until 2017,
अच्छा.
and between 2015 to 17, uh, so like my money making part majorly was relying on the weddings. I started doing wedding also
Right.
because I bought the camera.
Hmm.
I needed
Of
something
course.
to make money and like pay my EMI.
Hmm.
So wedding was a good option, and I loved that also.
Right.
Shooting wedding films, shooting pre-wedding films. At that time, like of course, I like the typical part wasn't my thing. The whole
Just press
the
button and
no,
capture.
yeah, the when I say wedding, it's not the typical thing.
Right.
Like I always wanted to do all the cinematic thing. Now it's very common though cinematic thing,
Yeah,
and
that time.
now though is very common.
Uh,
So I love that part. Like we made film, I love film. That was also I was also that was also a good way for me to make money and stuff.
right.
That was around 2017,
Hmm.
and because I was daily doing majority of doing that, I
Hmm.
started getting bored in a way कि सब
Right.
फिर then repetitive होने लगा एक
Right.
चीज. Then I'm like कि इसमें मजा नहीं आ रहा.
Hmm.
So then I started doing other things like commercial stuff, product videos, and yeah. So I was doing all of this Surat level.
Right.
Then beach में I don't remember what is the exact point, but then I started taking projects of outside also, like Bombay and Delhi.
Right.
कुछ तो connection बने थे उसमें से.
Hmm.
That happened, and then my network really grew. So once I started working with other people outside of Surat, then I worked with them multiple times over and over again. They referred me to other people. Then I started posting. So after posting, I got other people.
Right.
Then the whole
Yes.
network and
Yeah.
then compounding effect grew, and that was just in a 1 year.
Right.
And I then there was a time for me that I realized that maybe if I step out of Surat, it could be a better way and like more opportunities.
Right.
So I was not sure if I should move to Bombay because I was doing good enough staying in Surat. But I remember one time I was shooting a Martin Garrix concert in Bombay,
अच्छा.
and I met a bunch of people there. And I realized how good is it to stay in Bombay because there are chances that you may get a call in the morning
अच्छा.
and you may have a project in 4 hours.
Oh, okay.
So those opportunities are very crucial,
Right.
like when you're in Bombay.
Right. Makes sense.
So I thought maybe I should give it a try. So first I did not shift. I used to go there like 15 days, 10 days,
Acha.
stay there at a place or friend's place and see how it is working.
Right.
Then I thought, and as soon as I moved, I started working well
Acha.
in my favor. I
Right.
started a good projects, bunch of things. And then I was like, "Hey, this is going good." And for a change, I said I thought I should move to Bombay
Right.
and see how it works. So I think around 2017 end or 18 start, I moved to Bombay. And as soon as I thought that, just the way people say like when you move to Bombay, it's a lot of struggle and stuff. It was not in my case.
Acha.
So some reason, maybe
Fortunate.
like same thing, right place, right time. So as soon as I was there, I already had work. I already had work, and I already know people there. So work was not being that much issue.
बराबर.
As soon as I shifted, I already had work. So I just needed to figure out stay and वो सब उसमें भी I changed. The usual Bombay struggle is there, changing places, finding place.
Right.
That I did, and then got a good house. Then वहाँ पे same compound effect. Started working, started posting, got work, more work.
Right.
That keeps going, and then so the key moment was when I shifted to Bombay. The first project which was for an artist like was Zaeden.
अच्छा.
I got it through one of my friend Nathan. Uh, we used to make a page on Insta called Native.
I see.
So yeah,
Okay.
so I met him in
Hmm.
the Martin Garrix
Okay.
concert,
Concert.
and after 4 5, we then from there we were connected.
Hmm.
He is, we found a lot of similarity in terms of way we work,
Hmm.
the work ethics. So we
Hmm.
got connected,
Hmm.
and we got connected on online also.
Right.
And I was doing this bunch of thing, and then Nathan is into photo. He's expert
Right.
in photo,
Hmm.
and I was doing video
Good. Right.
mainly.
Hmm.
And then he had a requirement, and he used to shoot Zaeden a lot.
Hmm.
Like he
Hmm.
used to tour with Zaeden,
Right.
and
Okay.
they were like good friends by then.
Hmm.
And then Zaeden started doing video. Like he wanted to do some videos, and Zaeden started shifting his career into singing and
Oh.
musician. He was a DJ and producer first,
Oh. Okay.
and then
Right.
he
Hmm.
he wanted to do more of a singing, writing.
Right.
So that from he was shifting, he was making that shift,
Hmm.
and he needed to make some videos. Then
Hmm.
Nathan was like, Bhargav would be the best
Right.
person to do it.
Right.
So that was the first ever video I made for any artist.
Okay.
From
Right.
there, we did that video for Zaiden. He liked it.
Hmm.
Then we got connected because Zaiden also had a good connection with Nathan,
Hmm.
and me and Nathan had a good
Hmm.
call. And then we started doing all this video work under
Uh,
native.
Native. Right.
So Nathan
Okay.
was doing all the photo work, I was
Hmm.
doing all the video work.
Great.
From there, the network grew,
Right.
like Zaden and then his friends and
Hmm.
other artists saw the Zaden work, and I
Of course.
posted.
Yeah. Yeah.
That whole network grew, and then eventually, the whole 2018 or 19, we did a bunch of project with Zaden
Hmm.
and his management,
Oh.
because his
Okay.
management had other artists also.
Okay.
So
Oh.
because
Okay.
they saw good work,
Yeah. Of
then we
course.
connected, and then we become friends.
Hmm.
So, and the working for that whole team was
Hmm.
very friendly.
Hmm.
Like
Makes sense.
we were pulling off shoots in 2 days, 3 days
That's
without prep, and
Hmm.
we were doing good.
Hmm.
So that whole part picked up, and Bombay worked out really well for me.
Great.
And then it just, the network kept growing.
Right.
Honestly.
Hmm.
And then I bunch, did many connection with agencies, other production houses, other artists,
Right.
and I think we were also very few people who were doing this concert videos at a
Hmm.
good level and in
Right.
some different way.
Hmm.
So I started touring with artists also,
Hmm.
making content for them.
Ah.
And this is the exact time when the artists needed more videos than photos.
Right.
This was
Yeah.
the picking
Yeah.
that time.
Right. Right.
So it worked out again in
Right.
my favor,
Hmm.
because I was video first,
Hmm. Hmm. Makes
doing good
sense.
work, everything worked out. Then came COVID. This Before COVID, I have done a lot of good work.
Right.
So I started with making a basic cover song for Zaden,
Hmm.
to making music videos for him, to
Hmm.
making music video for him at a greater scale
Ah.
and even bigger scale. And then that part keep growing,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I was at a stage, then I started directing also
Right.
at a good scale.
Hmm.
And then I
Hmm.
did a bunch of project, like a bigger project with like
Right.
20 30 people crew.
Right.
So I directed few projects also,
Hmm. Hmm.
did all of that in between. That was my peak time. Like
Right.
I was growing like
Hmm.
month on month, not
Right.
even year on year or quarter or quarter.
Right. Amazing.
So yeah, and then and this whole time I was delusional. I
Hmm.
was not thinking next,
Hmm.
just doing
Just.
what I want
Hmm.
to do as of
Hmm.
now.
Hmm.
What I want to do next in terms of, maybe I want to work with this artist, maybe I
Hmm.
want to do this thing.
Maximum.
Only that's not like आगे क्या वो
Hmm.
सब कुछ
Hmm.
नहीं.
Hmm.
Was only doing, and somehow it worked very well in
Hmm.
my favor,
Hmm.
because I was so into it,
Right.
and maybe time was right also.
Ah.
Then hit the COVID.
Ah.
Then I got some time to think.
Hmm.
Then I become more rational, and then
Right.
everything is just shifted from there.
Different.
But
Okay.
even after COVID, I have done bunch of good work.
Hmm.
So
Of
most
course.
of, because 2019 was like a peak time
Hmm.
that sustained for a good amount
Hmm.
of time,
Hmm. Hmm. Right.
until like give it a bit pause, the whole work.
Right. Right.
So this was the whole thing. This is where I got, connection with the artists, started
Right.
working with them, and all stuff.
Great. So one key takeaway is if you are good at something, probably
Keep going.
that is hard to ignore, and that's what people has done, right?
No, I think, see, uh, I think being good at something is one thing, but being obsessed
Ah,
is another thing.
right.
Because a lot of people are good at something and they might not know,
Hmm.
but if they are obsessed with it,
They'll figure it out.
It doesn't matter to them.
Hmm.
They'll figure it out. They'll be good at it, and they'll keep doing it
Right, right.
because they're obsessed.
Makes sense.
But I think my obsession lasts till I figured it out and I sort of mastered it. Then it
Right.
I was bored.
Let's
ये
get
figure
to
out कर
the
लिया
next thing, right? Makes sense. So, what happened post COVID? Like, what is who is
Post
Bhargav
COVID
after COVID? Like after reflection.
changed like very. I started thinking long term.
Uh huh.
So in COVID, because we had a lot of free time,
Hmm.
I was not traveling all the time, not doing projects all the time. So I had a lot of time to think.
Hmm.
Not that I had time, I had no option.
Right.
So when you don't have anything to do, you
Yeah,
just
of course.
reflect. And I just started. It just natural. I started reflecting, thinking, कि अच्छा, if I keep doing this, then what next?
Right.
आगे क्या? All
Makes
those
sense.
questions started coming, and then I think uh, during that I started a bit of reading also, blogs,
Uh huh.
some podcasts. Podcast was just started around that time,
Right.
and I think bunch of thing happened, bunch of thing changed around COVID. But the key highlight was that during that time I stumbled upon Kunal Shah
Okay.
and I started reading his stuff. So the whole entrepreneurship, the whole long-term mindset,
Right.
the basically entrepreneur mindset started coming from there.
Makes
So
sense.
I started thinking like I was so much into other things. Now after reading those all those things started making sense to me, and I started becoming curious about all those things.
Right.
So
Makes
the
sense.
whole obsession
Yeah.
has shifted.
Right.
And so during that time it's not that I made some logical decision or thought out something rationally, but I just kept going there. It was very confusing moment. Like I was good at it, I can be even better at this, but then I realized that because what I'm doing here, it solely depends on me.
Exactly.
So all those long-term thinking started hitting here. So my delusional was going away.
Slowly. Yeah.
So then I started thinking, ki, let's say I'm making X amount of money per day. This is my fee. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा ये 2x होगी या 3x होगी. I'll keep working hard. I'll have to upgrade. I'll have to do things. कि there is certain limits. Okay, इससे ऊपर तो नहीं होगा.
Right.
So then I started thinking, okay, if not this, then what? और क्या वैसे? Then I started making more rational decisions. Uh, in COVID, this was my main takeaway in COVID that freelancing is great, was great to start, but for a long term, I need something that is not dependent on me.
Right.
And this all came from reading Kunal Shah and then from him figuring out
Of
other
course.
people and other people. Then from again like Naval Ravikant and all those,
Crazy. You just.
So from I think from Kunal Shah, somewhere and somewhere I stumble upon Naval,
Naval.
and then I got so obsessed that I read everything that he has put on out, all this podcast and stuff. So then I built the whole another personality. Like
Right.
this is one personality with a creative person
Right.
stuff. This is like another person thinking long term, all those because thing intellectual thing.
Right.
So those part change. This is the major difference.
Right.
And I during the COVID I realized also कि I don't think I can travel so often. I love traveling so much, but then it was big because everything was new to me. Traveling there, it did not feel like obligation. But then at a time, traveling become obligation. Like
Makes
even
sense.
if I don't want to travel, I'll have to travel because I'll have to work. So more than fun, it I started looking at more at obligation.
Makes sense.
Then the whole game switched. So yeah, then I thought ki maybe we'll have to figure something. This is going great, but it may not be great.
Right.
It could have been great if I continued. I
Of
don't know.
course.
So yeah, with this part changed, then the whole I became more rationalized. Started thinking if I do this, then what? Maybe I should do this, so then I can do this.
Right.
Making those rational decisions.
Right.
So the one rational decision I made was no, it was not like I made the whole calculation, but the basic logic
Hmm.
that made sense was I'm good at video. I know a bit of storytelling.
Hmm.
I know editing, visual editing, the whole filmmaking part. That I can make a good video.
Right.
Now it could be a bigger film also.
Hmm.
It could be smaller video also.
Hmm.
It could be anything.
Right.
But I know how to make a video and whatever it requires,
Hmm. Hmm.
from scripting to even direction to editing
Hmm.
to even like a basic of color correction. I
Right.
was doing all by myself.
Right.
That's how I've done most of my project,
Hmm.
end to end, just me.
Hmm.
So I thought it makes more sense. So then I, after discovering all this thing, entrepreneurship,
Hmm.
product marketing,
Hmm.
XYZ,
Hmm.
I realized there are two things. There are two great skills.
Hmm.
Either you need to know how to build a great products,
Right.
or you need to know how to sell.
Hmm. Hmm.
This is the two main thing that could work as a leverage for you.
Right.
Then with all this reading, and then I realized ki, to build a great products, you need to be in that field for long enough.
Hmm.
Without that, you can't build a great product.
Hmm.
Like
Makes sense.
if today I decide I want to make, let's say, this phone, I
Hmm.
can't make a phone.
Hmm.
I want to make mic, I can't make a mic. I
Hmm.
need to know that
Exactly.
experience, that background, to be able to make a great product.
Hmm.
Maybe I'll get obsessed, I'll figure out, but that will take another 5 6
Yeah.
years of
Yeah.
learning first what is
Hmm.
basic. So then I realized for building, I need to be specialized
Hmm. Hmm.
in something. Then I
Right.
can build some valuable product, and the the value will be based on insight, what insight I have in
Of
from
course.
this industry. Then
Hmm.
I can make a great product.
Hmm.
But then I realized marketing is the same
Hmm.
for anything. Like if
Right.
you know marketing, it doesn't matter what field, or it
Hmm.
matters
Of
a
course,
bit. Of
but
course, you need to know
nuance
some
is there,
insight,
but still.
but a base level thing
Hmm.
is the same.
Hmm.
Then like marketing, okay, what do we need in marketing? It's the same thing.
Hmm.
Marketing is like the whole video game was popping up, and
Ah.
the short term video was popping up. And I'm like, I know video, I know writing,
Hmm.
I know how to make a good video. So marketing is like very close by. So
Right.
if I dig enough in marketing,
Hmm.
it will be a great skill,
Hmm.
and then I can figure out.
Right. Makes sense.
Maybe I could work with people who are already great at building products,
Ah.
and I could be a marketing. So I'm like, if I crack this, then I am like, I
Hmm.
have a multiple option. I can
Hmm.
do many
Hmm.
things.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the whole shift
Hmm.
was there
Makes sense.
was to marketing. So after 2020, I started focusing more on the marketing side.
Hmm.
Like the same thing, same skills, but thinking that more from a marketing perspective.
Right. Makes sense.
This was the bigger shift.
Hmm.
A lot of bunch of things
Hmm.
happened after COVID. I
Hmm.
did bunch of other things also.
Hmm.
My obsession was changed. I
Hmm.
don't know a lot of new things,
Hmm.
but that's like another thing. But this was
Absolutely.
the major shift
Hmm. Hmm.
after COVID.
Right. Makes sense. Amazing, man. This is like, of course, and you rightly mentioned about marketing. Everything has, like you said, two aspect of it: building and then marketing.
Hmm.
But now that marketing is becoming so much more important because
Yeah,
most of the products are coming out almost similar in
similar.
nature, right? And everything is commoditized in that
Hmm.
sense on this building part. So what is left is basically marketing, and we keep talking about this on the podcast as well. Like, only strategy is yourself. Like
Yeah,
you have to be the person who can sell something, because people will always buy from people. So the product will be out of equation, like not exactly out of equation, but it will not have that significance that
yeah.
has been for the years.
No, I mean
So
I have a lot of opinion on this also. I
hmm,
mean, of course, I have not become an expert yet because it's only been 3 or 4 years. I'm into this other part of thing.
hmm,
I do think that a great product will always overpower
yeah,
any kind of marketing,
that is for sure. Like
because at
hmm,
the end it's the value.
hmm,
Like
makes
no
sense.
amount of marketing. See, marketing can help you make the first purchase,
Exactly.
but that
Recurring
won't sustain.
is
That won't sustain.
of course. At the end, product wins,
So,
of course.
so my way of looking at marketing, or the way I would want to do marketing was, see, after COVID, me and my friend started a marketing agency.
Right. Yeah.
And the way I was thinking is, ki, if their product is not great,
Hmm,
it doesn't matter. Like we
hmm,
won't take those projects
right.
because it's worthless.
Hmm,
I mean, if they are trying to sell some another clothing thing
hmm,
which does not have anything unique, it
right.
doesn't make sense. I
Hmm,
mean, it doesn't make sense for us also. It doesn't build a portfolio also, because the value will come to us in will be this way. Let's say they have a product, we
Hmm.
figure out some campaign or we do something for them, and
Hmm.
it works out. It
Hmm.
should work out in a way that it should become so successful that
Exactly.
it comes to our credit because
Exactly.
this guy did
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
and it worked. So
Hmm.
that then only it's a value chain for us. But
Right.
if you do so great marketing and the product is not that great,
Hmm.
that won't come back. Like it
Exactly.
will go in a waste in
Hmm.
a way.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So now the way I look at marketing is only that I can't think of marketing a product which is not that great.
Of course. So that
Or yeah.
is. Hmm.
So then I mean my motivation wouldn't be there.
Hmm. Hmm. Especially like when we talk about tech, when we really compare things,
Yeah.
तो any अंदर so उसके अंदर basically यही है कि you are looking at table stake features,
Yeah.
UI, this that, so pretty much almost is
Almost same.
similar or same. So उसके अंदर we cannot like जो mode बोलते हैं ना कि like
Hmm.
what is something that is going to win you over.
Hmm.
तो उसके अंदर ये आता है, and of course a great product, if there is something out there,
I mean
then
the key to sustainability is the great product.
great product, of
Marketing
course.
can help you accelerate,
Right.
gain more audience, gain
Hmm.
new
Hmm.
audience,
Hmm.
but sustainability will come from a great product.
Right, right. But if we put just two great products there, and if
No, no,
one
without
is,
no, no. Of course,
that is like,
for great product, you need like the
exactly, you need
first
to get noticed.
push
So
and
that
the
is,
marketing. So yeah, marketing is just common for anything and everything you do.
right,
Even
absolutely.
let's say now that I look back, even as a freelancer, I used to do my marketing.
Of course.
Even I
Hmm.
was doing great,
Hmm.
like great supply demand was
Hmm.
there,
Hmm.
everything. But then I needed to do certain thing for my work, like to put out my work there.
Exactly.
So
Right.
that is the not going anywhere.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
that's the
Hmm.
basic thing.
Right. Absolutely. So, talk to me about the agency, like how and what
Our
and
idea was uh, this whole content game starting popping up. I had a good credibility in the city,
hmm.
so it makes sense. And city did not have a many
Right.
option for people like
Hmm.
agency, like a one-stop solution to
Hmm.
for a great product or marketing.
Hmm.
So we
Hmm.
thought let's start.
Hmm.
And it's not hard to start any service business in Surat because
Right.
the resources. I mean,
Ah.
there's not much investment.
Hmm.
There's nothing like rent is bare minimum here,
Hmm.
so it is very easy to start.
Hmm.
We thought that maybe we should go to Bombay, but it's already very chaos
Hmm.
and
Correct.
crowded.
Hmm.
So we thought let's start from here.
Hmm.
So our whole idea was to be an agency for
Hmm.
marketing solution, mainly for content marketing.
Okay. Okay.
There were few agency, but not they were not
Hmm.
into content marketing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, so there are a bunch of like
Hmm. सही है.
agencies.
Hmm.
That was the whole idea of starting agency.
Hmm.
We did. It's been around 3 years. We started. We're doing decent. We're not scaling up that much. We're doing limited work,
Hmm.
not trying to scale. And
Hmm. Hmm.
we did try to scale. We did like a 15 employee and stuff, but
Hmm.
then it did not work out well in the city.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
then we again scaled down and made a small team
Hmm.
and do a
So
limited projects.
right. So right now you're like 6, 7 people,
No, no, even less.
even less. Okay.
Only
Makes sense.
core people
Right.
who takes the responsibility, and
Right.
everything else we just hire
Okay.
based on need.
Contractual, and that works out well for the agency, right?
Yeah, for now it works out well.
Hmm.
We started doing the in-house thing,
Ah.
but I don't think city has the talent
Hmm.
that much
Hmm.
to rely on them.
Hmm.
First talent, first skills,
Hmm.
and then again comes the work ethics. Like
Hmm.
this
Okay.
is, I think this whole media and this marketing is a new kind of work for Surya. I don't think we have that background here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Our background is business.
Right.
So business, your attitude is different. But for job, your attitude should be different.
Right. Right. Of course.
Like you can't be your own boss.
Right. Of course.
So you'll have to see what, like you'll have to follow what the leader is following,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then for with that, that there has to be a way of working
Hmm.
that I think is still not here. I mean, now it's coming up. People know more like professionalism,
Hmm.
work ethics.
Hmm.
So for that reason, I think having in-house team is just spending money for nothing
Ah.
in a way because it does not turn out to be the way we think.
Right, right.
So we better not do a lot of project. We
Mm.
better not try to scale,
Mm.
but be limited and do only limited projects. So even we can do better.
Yeah, of course, makes sense.
When we hire a team, it's like more like 80% time is just managing them, and
Mm.
then 20% time is just doing. So
Surprising.
that's
And
not.
mm.
You see any agency in Surat, it's very difficult to scale.
Mm.
There are only
Uh,
very few agencies in Surat who is working at a good scale,
mm.
and they're still doing good work.
Right. Mm.
As soon as they scale, they are not able to work well.
Exactly. Mm.
So it's very difficult here.
Similar experience, and I said surprising, but it in my mind it wasn't very surprising
Hmm.
because I had this question for you.
Huh.
Ki, like, what do you think about the younger generation right now? I think you're in the agency spectrum. You
Hmm.
would have worked with a
Yeah.
lot of them. So and you spoke a little bit on that ki already, like ethic ka wo issue hai.
Hmm.
So what do you think? Like, do you think that ki are we ready for or younger generation का कैसा है मतलब what they should be
I
doing?
I mean I to already started feeling detached from the younger generation a bit. I am feeling old.
Hmm.
But see there are two type of younger people I see.
Hmm.
One is way better than us,
Hmm.
who have figured out before us because of the internet, because of the exposure. Maybe they got the right exposure,
Hmm.
so they are even better.
Right.
They are obsessed. They are doing their own thing. They are making unique thing. And there are other people who thinks they deserve something
Hmm.
but don't know
Without.
why.
Hmm. Okay.
Everybody
Interesting.
thinks that they deserve it,
Hmm.
but like what makes you deserving of
Hmm.
that thing?
Hmm.
So I think that I don't know where that comes from.
Hmm. Hmm. Interesting.
Everybody thinks that I should deserve this. Everybody thinks that I should be doing this. Everybody
Hmm.
thinks that I should be paid this much, or
Hmm.
everybody thinks
Hmm.
this is what I should be doing. Why that person is doing so? Like
Hmm.
like you haven't done something
Hmm.
to be
Right.
deserving for that.
Hmm. Hmm. Very interesting.
But I think that comes from because everything is so connected,
Hmm.
the expectation builds,
Hmm.
and they don't know what it takes, or
Hmm.
because they are not exposed to. Because you see a successful people on Instagram, you don't know what he has done,
Of course.
but you build an expectation
Hmm. Hmm.
and you
Hmm.
feel like, oh, I also deserve this,
Hmm. Hmm.
but you
Right.
don't know what it takes.
Right. Very
So that
interesting.
is like I think
Hmm.
challenging part. I don't say that it's their fault, but
Hmm.
it's just
Hmm.
how
The world
the
works right
circumstances
now.
are building up.
Hmm. 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 Interesting.
Surat, I think because there's no industry.
Hmm.
I also have another point to this.
Hmm.
It's great that there are both two ways. Like
Hmm.
because there are no industry
Hmm.
here,
Hmm.
there's no background of the whole media thing here.
Hmm.
There are two things happens. I'll speak one which I say is not in our favor is because we don't know how things work.
Hmm.
We see on the internet and we think that how things are, but there is a standard of a way of things are done.
Hmm.
You realize and you learn when you go to Bombay like city, and you know a whole structure of how a normal ad film is made,
Hmm.
how many people are there,
Hmm.
what are they do, how they do,
Hmm.
how are they, how what are their SOPs and how they work.
Right.
So you know that you can't learn it here because everybody is applying their own mind here,
Ha.
and they're just trying to figure out their own.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And sometimes it does not work. If the person is wise enough
Hmm.
to figure it out, they'll figure out, or they will have an attitude ki I know it,
Hmm.
this is how it works,
Hmm.
because it might have worked for them.
Hmm.
So the people learning under does not learn well,
Right.
or
Makes
maybe
sense.
it does not go right, basically is what I think. So yeah, I think because it hasn't been there, everybody is just trying their hands,
Hmm.
so it doesn't go
Really.
right direction,
Hmm.
because there is like the mentorship is not coming down,
Hmm.
and
Right.
then they are learning.
Hmm.
But the other part is because it is not, because the people here are not programmed with the already programmed thing,
Hmm.
they can figure out something, a whole new thing.
Right. Hmm. There's no
So
structure, so they can.
so they experiment on their own, and maybe they come up with something new that
Hmm.
people who are already in the structure have not thought out of it, because
Right.
they are so into structure.
Hmm. Hmm. Makes sense.
So but I think that is very rare,
Hmm. Very rare. Yeah.
very rare.
Hmm. The first part is very overpowering. Like it cannot really
Yeah.
uh,
But for that you need to be so detached
Hmm.
that what is happening you should let go of.
Hmm.
You should not let that influence you.
Right.
You have to be very mindful of that.
Hmm. Makes sense.
Because let's say a very basic influence here is that pricing.
Hmm.
You see five agency charging X amount,
Hmm.
which is very bare minimum,
Hmm.
and now that start to become a standard.
Hmm. Uh, that's
So
that's. Hmm.
yeah, and then that's how everything then market works.
Hmm. Hmm.
Even client comes and they're like, कि market में तो इतना चल रहा है, but then
Hmm.
like this is not the market, this is not how it works. And here I think the people who are in Surat who have done businesses here, their marketing is not their marketing was very bare minimum,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
I don't think even they would think of a marketing
Exactly. Hmm.
compared to metro cities.
Hmm.
Like you see marketing everywhere, you see media everywhere,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
you see businesses where are built on media.
Hmm.
All the business are here, factory,
Right.
machine. We have those business,
Hmm.
and the city has the media businesses,
Right.
which revolves around media.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the value is very much there for the media. So these
Hmm.
people don't know what it is to
Hmm.
produce a media, produce a video, produce,
Right. Hmm.
or what it takes. So it does not make sense to them.
Hmm. वही है कनेक्ट नहीं हो पाते
Hmm.
they
I
probably
mean, they
don't know.
don't see the value. I mean,
हाँ
people. I mean, for a smaller city like this, now it shouldn't be the case because everything is being connected. People
Hmm.
have exposure,
Hmm.
but earlier used to be the case.
Hmm.
Like, let's say in metro city or in a bigger companies, they treat video as a media piece of media as an asset,
Asset
digital
exactly.
asset.
Hmm. Hmm.
So when they say that we are making this ad and we are putting X amount of money,
Hmm.
they think of it as an investment because this is an asset.
Right.
Now they
Makes
figure out
sense.
how to monetize this
Hmm.
asset, like how
Hmm.
to
Right.
use this and capitalize your business more.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Here they see it as more of an expense.
Expense exactly. That's the main like.
But now this is very tricky part.
Hmm.
It is not always an asset. It
Hmm.
could be a bad asset also if
Exactly.
not done well.
Hmm. Hmm. Makes sense. Right.
Yeah, I mean this is like a. I wouldn't say it's the people problem, but that's how things are.
Hmm.
It's not कि यहाँ के लोग ऐसे हैं, but
Hmm.
it's just how the things are built up.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
not because of anyone.
Hmm. Hmm. Makes sense.
Yeah.
What do you think about money?
Uh, my perspectives have changed a lot about money. Like
Hmm.
it
Of
has been
course.
changing.
Hmm.
But the one conclusion I have that is like, I mean, I can't avoid it. People try to avoid in a way that. So I think coming from the middle class, I always this narrative is fed to you that making money is sort of evil.
Hmm.
But that comes from another point, which is like you envy something you don't have.
Hmm.
So
Ah,
you like a middle class or
right.
a poor family always envy a richer family because
Hmm.
they don't have it.
Hmm.
So that makes them feel that making money is evil.
Hmm.
You don't need that much money. You
Right.
shouldn't make money because
Hmm.
then the whole narrative is like, oh, there are bigger things than money.
Hmm. Hmm.
All those
Right.
things. But the fact is, no, like
Yeah. You need that.
you, it's not about making money and showing it off,
Hmm.
but it's for the freedom.
Hmm. Of course.
So then, of course, all this Naval,
Hmm.
Kunal Shah, and all
Hmm.
this,
They have done
I
phenomenally
got
well.
the, I got to see it from the other perspective
Hmm.
that money is just a tool
Hmm. Hmm.
which allows you to buy your time.
Hmm.
So you don't have to keep grinding every
Hmm.
day, and
Hmm.
you do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Absolutely.
So I see money that way.
Hmm. Pretty much same. Like I just wanted to ask, like, what is uh, the thing?
I mean, I think about this
Hmm.
that I don't think I need like why I am shifting towards more of, I hate to say this word entrepreneurship, but more of figuring out a business or something,
Hmm.
you know, something which is not runs on me,
Huh.
that can live without me, is that is not that I want to make like a millions of money.
Hmm.
My whole idea is that I want to work on something that gives me some money.
Hmm.
It does not have to be too much, so
Hmm.
that I don't have to work day to day for my basic needs.
Hmm. Hmm. Right.
Whatever is my lifestyle I want to keep,
Right.
that sustain,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then I can do whatever I want to do.
Right.
Maybe I want to make films, I make films.
Hmm.
Figure out some other tech thing,
Hmm.
do podcast,
Yeah.
I'll do film.
Absolutely.
So that this is how I see money is
Hmm.
to not like not make money to buy something or
Hmm.
do something with it,
Hmm.
but is to get free from
All
this
this.
survival thing.
Hmm. Hmm. Makes sense.
Not yet there, but
Yeah, I mean,
working on it.
talking about tech, I think this is
Obviously,
probably the last segment
yeah.
we would take. But tell me what all things you are doing in tech.
I wouldn't say I'm into tech. I'm just scratching the surface as of now.
Mm-hmm.
But I am now. My current obsession is this: like
Mm-hmm.
figuring out some techy thing or
Mm-hmm.
some way, or figuring out a way something to do it with the tech.
Mm-hmm.
It could be as basic as figuring out an automation, or
Mm-hmm.
just automating something, or making something efficient with tech.
Right.
So I'm not into it as such. I
Mm.
know basics of it.
Mm.
Just recently started learning APIs
Ah.
and those stuff, playing with the
Mm-hmm.
API.
Right.
I mean, for people who are not into tech, they will tell me that
Yeah,
you are
this
into
is
tech.
tech. Yeah.
But people into tech, I can't say I'm into tech because I'm not really into it.
If we can say we are into tech, then you can definitely,
No,
because
no, no.
I
You've
don't
been to,
even
I
play
mean,
with
your
like.
half of your career is has been
Of
into tech.
course, but I am not into programming as in I'm a
But
non-tech
you
like.
were into that business, no? I was
Absolutely.
not close to it.
Makes
I mean,
sense.
it is after COVID I started
Mm.
exploring and all this stuff.
Right, right.
When Naval said the code is one of the highest leverage
Oh yes,
code and media,
absolutely. Uh,
and then it made sense.
mm,
It
mm,
makes sense, and I would say I am that delusional about learning tech
mm,
now as I
mm.
was delusional about learning Photoshop
Amazing.
back then.
So we
I
are
think it's
going
the
to
same
see
thing.
something in
Yeah,
next
I
4 5
mean,
years.
hopefully.
Uh,
I mean, for those things, but see here, my rationality stops me.
mm.
It's not. I would say it's not great.
Right.
My rationality stops me because I'm doing multiple things, so I
Mm.
can't be obsessed and spend whole night on
Whole.
one thing. Although I do that,
Right.
but yeah, that is my thing with tech. Like
Mm.
for tech, so uh, I am not looking into building an app or all those things,
Mm.
but I want to know how things are done, how things are made, and I want to do it very non-techy way,
Right.
which is no code
Makes
is
sense. Yeah.
going this
Mm.
direction.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to write codes and stuff. I
Right.
just want to know how it works,
Right.
and I want to figure out how can I do it without coding.
Right. Makes sense.
So like learn the concept and don't do it. Because I know
Mm.
if I if my purpose of learning tech is to code,
Mm.
then it's like me finding a job.
Mm.
I
Mm.
don't want to
Makes
do that.
sense. Mm.
I want to do learn the concept,
Mm.
learn how things work,
Mm.
figure out things on myself,
Mm.
and then figure out what can I do with that,
Mm.
so that when I do it, I have people
Mm.
I know. I can apply my logics, my
Mm.
creativity, what I know, creativity with what I know.
Makes sense. And I think pretty much required as well. Like
Yeah,
if you know just even a little bit of that, it can definitely help you a
yeah.
lot
And
in
no,
a
it
lot of
helps a lot. It
aspects.
helps a lot. Example.
Mm.
So I think for a techie person,
Mm.
what I know of tech is not. I'm not into tech, but
Mm.
for people who don't know tech,
Mm.
it is so much that I
Mm.
know so much.
Right. Mm.
So example, currently I'm figuring out one of my friend who she runs a clothing brand,
Mm-hmm.
and she's at a point that she needs to scale.
Acha.
Because
Mm.
her product is so good,
Mm.
and it is like it's their business is worked out so good. Their
Mm.
product is good. She has a good demand. She has a good product.
Mm.
But now she's at a point that she can't manage everything.
Right.
She needs a system.
Mm.
So there comes a tech. So now I'm helping her figure out
Right.
with all this no code thing. With my
Uh-huh.
knowledge, I'm helping her figure out a system where she can automate. She can overview
Right.
while not asking people what is
Mm.
the update, and she can see
Mm.
all the report part,
Mm.
the inside of her business.
Right.
So they've been doing everything on paper and stuff.
Oh,
So it's very
okay.
difficult for them to see कि like it's everything is not on you know hand.
Hmm. Hmm.
Simple as like कि she wants to know कि उन्होंने ये कलर के कितने कपड़े बेचे हैं.
Right.
She does
Okay.
not have to do that. They'll
Ah.
have to go through the files and do the
Hmm.
same.
Hmm.
But for that, you need a system. So I'm helping her build a whole system with a no-code tool.
Hmm.
So
Makes
I am
sense.
using my tech there, and while helping her, I'm learning also.
Learning also. Yeah, that makes
By
sense.
that, I'm now figured out. I've been made
Hmm.
a very beautiful system for them.
Uh-huh.
I'm almost like 90% there.
Oh, amazing. Notion or like what
No,
kind
no,
of
I'm
tools?
using Coda.
Ah, Coda. Yeah.
I thought Notion, but Notion is still not there
Hmm. Hmm.
for a system like this.
Right. Hmm.
This is a very complex system.
Hmm.
What
Hmm.
I'm building for them.
Right. So you'll be basically integrating with a lot of systems, or is it
No, no,
just
it's just Coda in itself.
okay?
It's
Feeding in the
no,
data.
imagine I'm just making an app for them,
Okay.
but with Coda.
Through okay. Okay.
Like
Makes sense.
how you would build an ERP system for a
Hmm.
company.
Right.
I'm building sort of ERP system for them on
Hmm.
Coda,
Right. Makes
which
sense.
build which is managing their resource,
Hmm.
their day-to-day processes, production and
Hmm.
stuff.
Hmm.
That's it.
Right. And get a beautiful dashboard where they can see all of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And
And
numbers
most
are
of things are
handy.
automating. Everything is on click, click.
Hmm.
Earlier they used to make sheets by hand.
Oh.
Now they on the one click.
Hmm.
Everything is there. Transfer data on one click.
Right.
Make a report on one click.
Hmm.
All those things.
Amazing.
I explored. Now I'm very much deep into Notion,
Hmm.
Coda, and all this
No code.
similar database
Hmm. Hmm.
based tool.
Right.
So yeah, these for this part of tech, I am sort of into it.
Hmm.
I can make things like I can make a whole company run on this system now.
Hmm.
So this
Interesting.
is one of the thing I thought I would start. I thought of this around 6 7 months back. I
Hmm.
and one of my friends that maybe we should start an agency
Hmm.
which provide this service
Hmm.
for a smaller business
Right.
who can't invest in their own
Like.
ARP
Hmm.
or tech.
Right.
We help them set up this internal system with Notion
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
similar tool.
Right.
So let's see. This is so basic. This system I'm building for this fashion brand is one of that
Right.
thing. Like
Okay.
if this works out well,
Then you can
then I'll figure
replicate.
out.
Hmm. Hmm. Makes
And I
sense.
think it seems to me I haven't done like a research as such, but
Hmm.
I think there's a market.
Oh, great.
Like not every business can afford a tech team to build their
Absolutely. Hmm.
own coded
Hmm.
application,
Hmm.
so they can't spend that much money.
Hmm.
But if I can figure them whole system in half
Hmm.
of that money
Right.
with half of their time with the
Hmm.
no-code tool, there's a
Great.
market.
Great value proposition. For sure.
Let's say I mean it takes a lot of time, but
Hmm.
even though it's no code,
Hmm. It takes
it's
time,
a lot
of
of work.
course. Hmm.
I think it's been more than 3 months now,
Oh, okay. That's a
back
lot of
and forth.
work. Hmm.
Of course, because I'm not doing it full time, and
Yeah, yeah,
she
of
is
course.
not expecting it like as soon as possible. And
Hmm. Hmm.
it's not. She also knows that we are
Hmm.
also figuring out,
Right, right,
and her system is not like a regular fashion brand,
right.
where it's
Hmm.
not standardized.
Hmm. Hmm.
For her brand, everything is customized.
Right.
Everything is working on order base.
Hmm.
So the system is very complex.
Hmm.
So that is
Right.
another reason it is taking more time.
Right, right. Makes sense. And sometimes, they also have to figure out a lot of things
Their
before.
own system internally,
Exactly.
their own standardization.
Hmm. Hmm.
So by building this, I'm helping them standardize thing also,
Right.
which is not technically my part. I just need to make the software part,
Right. But this
but
is
I'm
like
helping
more.
their standardized thing also.
Hmm.
That if let's say this if one of their process is doing in this three steps and they're doing it some certain way,
Hmm.
then I see this is not scalable.
Hmm.
It could be issue on a larger scale
Right.
or where they grow. So
Hmm.
this can be an issue. So this
Hmm.
process needs to be other way.
Hmm.
So all those things I'm helping them, for so क्या हुआ है? Forecast and
Oh,
see
yeah.
कि this wouldn't
Hmm.
go well.
Hmm.
You should
Hmm.
do this way.
Right, right. And this is more like digital consulting, right?
Yeah, we
So,
can say. I am still not able to come up with what should I call this.
right. Makes sense. But
But yeah,
yeah, I mean, interesting.
this
Very
is how
interesting.
I'm involved in tech.
Hmm.
But now I've learned basic of API,
Hmm.
how JavaScript works,
Hmm.
HTML basic structure.
Hmm. Hmm.
I am exploring more tools like Flutterflow,
Hmm.
Bubble.
Right.
Then there is AppSmith.
Hmm.
AppSmith is basically open. open source,
Open source. Yeah.
open source of Flutter Flow, we
Hmm.
can say.
Hmm. Hmm.
So my one of the challenge is also finding a no-code tool which is open source.
Hmm.
Open
It's
source is
pretty
also one
difficult.
thing I discovered
Okay.
three
Yeah.
months back,
Hmm.
3 4 months back.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I am always, whenever I find a tool, the next search I'm doing is open source
So it is
alternative.
makes sense. Hmm. There would probably be more tools like that in the future, but right
Yeah,
now I think
hundred
it's
percent,
still very
100%.
nascent stage, I would say.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I
we,
think yeah. Even Notion is one of the that tool, but it's not no code development tool, but it's more of, it could be that tool. Actually,
hmm,
Notion started. I think Notion started because they wanted to make a software with that people can make their own software.
of
It's
course,
like a,
yeah,
they wanted to
yeah,
make a Lego blocks and
hmm,
people can build that.
right,
But then it turned out to be a
shifted.
different direction. But I
Hmm,
think their goal is still the same.
hmm.
Eventually, they will get there.
In the bigger picture,
Yeah, they
probably.
want to do that. So I
Hmm,
am using Notion with the purpose what they made.
hmm,
Like they
makes
gave me
sense.
Lego blocks,
Hmm,
and now everything I want to do, I'll figure out, can I do this with Notion first?
hmm, hmm.
If not, then I find someone to do.
Right, makes sense. Sahi.
Yeah, I mean, I can spend whole night
Hmm,
figuring all these things
hmm.
out.
Amazing. I
It's been
think
great.
uh, great talk, and I think we
Yeah.
should probably
How much
conclude.
time is spent?
It's,
It's
it's
three.
been what, 3? Okay, and anything that comes up during the journey phase, or like
Hmm.
till now, whatever we have discussed, do you
Hmm.
think anything else that can really help make this discussion
A
more
lot of things. I
juicier?
mean, endless. So the thing is, I have so much. It's not. So I have so much to talk about from pre-COVID,
Hmm.
and now so much that's going on
Hmm.
after COVID. So
Hmm.
apart from tech, as I told you, I'm
Hmm.
doing marketing side. Building this
Hmm.
cloud kitchen brands,
Oh yeah,
all
let's talk
those stuff.
about that as well. Like just a little bit, 4 5 minutes.
So last year, I sort of partnered with two of my Shan and Sagar.
Hmm.
Shan was my friend. I knew him from 5 6 years,
Hmm.
and he was starting a fine dine restaurant.
Right.
And he knew me, and he was so sure about that. Whenever I'm starting this, I
Hmm.
want you for the marketing and
Right.
branding,
Hmm.
because he knew me
Hmm.
and knew what I used to do.
Hmm.
So then he was sure. Then he started. They were planning around 2020,
Hmm.
and then they finalized everything, and it was around 2023 February or something.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then they reached out to me, and that's when I was exploring more things to do.
Right.
So yeah, I got connected. Then yeah, now Trezoro is like, the whole past year
Hmm.
we were working on this.
Hmm.
I was building the whole brand side and the marketing side.
Hmm. Hmm.
And, so yeah, for the last year we built Trezoro, which is a fine dine
Hmm.
European restaurant.
Hmm.
And now with the same people, Shahan. So they have two partners, Shahan and Sagar, and
Hmm.
then I'm third.
Hmm.
And now we three are figuring to build some cloud kitchen.
Hmm.
We have all the resources and kitchen setup, so
Hmm.
we're planning to make a different brand out of the kitchen, because this Trezoro is solely a niche based European
Hmm.
cuisine,
Hmm.
so we don't want to mix and
Everything.
make it multi cuisine.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we're thinking to make some cloud kitchen brands where we can do other stuff
Hmm.
like burgers, pizzas.
Hmm.
We also do burgers here, but it's very European based and all
Hmm.
those government
Right.
type burger.
Hmm.
But we want to do other things in food.
Hmm.
So Shahan has the culinary background.
Hmm.
His this is, I think, his he is like a fourth generation into
Oh,
hospitality.
I see.
So he is like the product builder there.
Oh, makes
He
sense.
knows product well. He
Hmm.
has the insight,
Hmm.
and I am working as a from the marketing side.
Hmm.
So we are building cloud kitchens.
Hmm.
From one cloud kitchen, the same this model. क्या नाम है उनका? I forgot the Fasos and all. This is
Right.
a cloud kitchen model where you
Okay.
have one cloud kitchen and you run multiple brands
Right.
from
Makes
the same
sense.
cloud kitchen. That's
Ah.
what we're doing.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
recently launched one brand. It's called Thick.
Right.
THI double C
Dot in.
Thick. Yeah,
Yes.
Thick dot in.
Hmm.
It's the sandwich brand. And then we have burger brand. Then we have one pizza brand. Then we have one bakery.
Mm-hmm.
Then we are doing one healthy subscription based healthy
Hmm.
meal,
Hmm.
which we think is not in the city. Like there's no service as a city where like they make you they make your meals based on your macros and deliver it to your home
Okay.
timely.
Okay.
So this is for people who are into fitness. They have
Hmm.
their own diet and fix that they need to amount this amount of protein, they need to
Right.
eat this amount of carbs.
Hmm.
So that is a lot of work
Of
to
course,
make
yeah.
this recipe every day and stuff.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that we are trying to build it in a way so that they don't have to make it.
Hmm.
So they
Hmm.
just buy a subscription and
Right.
they get their meal on time
Hmm.
for uh, con- uh, for their requirement
Right.
of the macro.
Hmm.
So now we take that load on us that how to
Right.
figure out and how to make those recipe
Hmm.
healthy enough, have all the macros they need
Hmm.
under budget,
Hmm.
and still taste delicious.
Hmm. Amazing. Great.
So this is in the same
So
thing.
all of that are already running parallel,
No,
or
no,
just
it's
thick
running
is
almost
there, right?
everything is running in background. We
Hmm.
haven't launched, but now month on month or every 2 3 weeks we'll start launching one after one.
Okay.
So
Okay.
all the
Makes
brands are
sense.
almost ready. We've been working on since 4ish month,
Hmm.
building the brand products,
Right.
figuring out. So now I'm using all my tech knowledge also here.
Hmm. Right. Of course.
Yeah.
So that.
So how we're setting this subscription brand is the on WhatsApp base.
Oh.
It
Okay.
will not have a website or anything.
Of course.
Like
Hmm. Hmm.
everything will be on a WhatsApp flow.
Hmm. Hmm.
So let's say onboarding will be like you text some like say hi, there'll
Hmm.
be a menu,
Hmm.
you select onboarding, there'll be a step, you onboard, you put in your details, your
Right.
profile will be built on the backend,
Right.
and we'll have the database.
Hmm.
And then every day, let's say we are trying to fix a time. So
Hmm.
maybe let's say lunch hour is 1 p.m. and
Hmm.
dinner hour is around 8 p.m.
Hmm.
So and if the user has subscribed for 2 meals a day,
Right.
so in the previous day, around 7 8 p.m., they will get an automated WhatsApp message that
Right.
do you need your meal tomorrow?
Hmm.
You can say yes.
Hmm.
And then if you are do you need your tomorrow meal veg or non-veg?
Hmm.
Then veg or non-veg.
Right.
Where do you need it? Location
Hmm.
or pickup. We're also giving pickup option.
Right. Okay.
So this is automated. They given they
Inputs
input the
and.
data.
Hmm.
We get the data. The
Hmm.
backend team get the data. So in the night we have the data.
Hmm.
In the night we prep everything,
Hmm. Hmm.
or in the early morning
Early
we prep
morning. Yeah.
everything,
Hmm.
and then we just
Hmm.
sip.
Makes
So
sense.
my tech knowledge, the API part,
Right. Business.
is
WhatsApp based business is
coming
something that you
is
have.
being utilized here.
Ah, makes sense.
So I
Interesting.
made the whole flow and everything is
Ah,
ready. The WhatsApp thing.
amazing. Great.
Yeah. So my rationality has always kept me doubting that
Hmm.
is it worth what I'm doing now,
Hmm.
even though I'm obsessed.
Hmm.
But then I realized that whatever you learn will eventually be
Absolutely.
useful. Even if you're
In
doing
one way or
business,
other, yeah.
if you're doing business,
Yeah.
there are chance anything you learn will be utilized later.
Absolutely. Hmm. Hmm. Makes sense.
So everything that I learned till date,
Hmm.
even Photoshop,
Hmm.
is being utilized till date.
Makes sense. Yeah.
From your Photoshop to even photography to
Hmm.
video editing, from writing script,
Hmm.
everything is being utilized.
Hmm.
Even whatever tech thing I learned in 3 4 years last is being utilized today.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think if you're doing business, it's nothing is going waste.
Hmm.
If you
Hmm.
want to do job,
Then
then
yeah,
it might not be useful, but it's always great.
specialization is for job,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
yeah, that way makes sense.
So for all this cloud kitchen also we're not doing it through Swiggy. We
Uh-huh.
have developed our own platform,
Acha,
which
okay.
is like Swiggy, and
Makes
then we
sense.
integrated Porter with that, and
Right.
delivery is automated through
Hmm.
that.
Hmm. Makes sense.
So yeah, I think once this is set, like this is going well, this
Hmm.
good part,
Hmm.
then I'll have like some free time because
Hmm.
then this is my main thing. This is my most time I'm spending.
Hmm.
Then I'll figure out what I want to do, which is proper tech.
Oh, makes sense. Okay, we'll
So
look
yeah,
forward to that
either
for
either
sure.
I'll focus on building that agency, the
Ah,
digital solution
consulting.
part,
Yeah.
but that is also limited. That is also require me
Hmm. Hmm.
because
Pretty
it's
much,
service
at least in
based
the
or maybe
beginning.
then even
Hmm.
not me,
Hmm.
then it will be people based.
Hmm.
I will need
Hmm.
team who
Hmm. Service based, yeah.
yeah, but I
So.
want to make something which is like a product.
Hmm. Hmm. Right. Makes sense.
Let's see.
Yeah, I think the deeper you go into, you'll probably end up into you'll be able
Yeah,
to find waves, and
yeah.
that is what is required, right? You just
Let's see. I mean, there is a lot of challenges. I think it also has, and it. I realize that anything you need want to build,
hmm,
be it tech or anything, tech I would say has a bigger leverage,
hmm,
so it is worth, but it will still take 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years.
Hmm.
If you make something great.
Hmm.
So I want to build it for fun,
Hmm.
or
Yeah, of
I want to
course.
build it for small thing.
Hmm.
And if I'm building a small thing, and if I'm able to do it, I think I'm great.
Hmm. Makes sense. All right, I think we rambled enough.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
actually,
Good one.
yeah,
Spoke a
this
lot.
was a good discussion, and
I hope I was not
you
getting lost.
no, not at all. You are very on point, and everything
No.
is.
Post
Uh,
COVID, because
hmm,
I was reading too much, I was watching too much,
hmm,
so I was being more of intellectual.
hmm,
I don't like that word now. So I used to speak a lot.
hmm.
Everyone I meet, उनको ज्ञान चोदना ये सब, you know bro, this. But then I eventually वो कम हो गया.
Hmm,
I think after a while I spoke a lot now.
hmm, hmm. But as it says that older you get, you wiser you'll
Yeah.
become. Of course, not applies to everyone, but like most of the people who
Not
realize
necessarily.
this.
I think I have seen a lot of younger people who are even wiser than me.
Hmm. Of course, I mean वो होता है, but
Hmm.
just saying कि like all right. So we'll probably wrap
Wrap this up.
this up right now. Last question is where people can find you if they want to learn more about you.
Everywhere. My Instagram is Bhagrav,
Oh yes.
Bhagrav.
What is that?
Even on Google, if you search Bhagrav, you'll find me.
Uh,
So everyone asks me. Most people don't realize it's Bhagrav.
uh,
They will think it's
okay.
Bhargav.
Okay.
The basic thing is, so uh, you have two. Everybody has two Instagram username. One
Hmm.
is pre-puberty and
Hmm.
one is post-puberty.
Hmm.
I'm not
Okay.
sure if you can play it. So
Hmm.
everybody
Hmm.
will have like a very funky name
Yeah.
when they started. Now I don't think now that is the case,
Hmm.
but I remember everybody has a very witty and weird Instagram names before. So
Right.
like that, I also had a very weird name.
Hmm.
So my Instagram name was Bugs Bunny
Oh.
1996.
Oh wow.
If you
So
remember early Instagram, everybody used to have these names,
of
like
course.
any random
Hmm.
names.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like
कहीं से कुछ भी उठा लिया
some
जाता
people
था.
will be stupid, like
Hmm.
Raj 143,
Hmm. Hmm.
all this stuff.
Of course.
So I was one of them, and I had this name. Then I puberty hit me and realized that this is not. So then I realized I wanted to make it so sophisticated,
Hmm.
no underscore, no number, nothing.
Hmm.
So the first search search is of course Bhargav, but
Hmm.
it was taken.
Hmm.
Then I did bunch of other things,
Hmm.
but I did not wanted to write any number. So people
Hmm.
usually do, when they don't find their name, they
Hmm.
put like Bhargav underscore 96 or their
Hmm.
birth date or
Or
something.
something like
मुझे
that.
वो भी नहीं करना था और
Hmm.
simple करना था.
Ah.
And at that time, I had a habit of mispronouncing word in a way
Ah.
that I would interchange letters.
Hmm.
So Bhargav, I would speak Bhagrav,
Uh-huh. Okay.
interchange the
You
word.
yourself.
I had that habit of
Okay.
speaking that
Okay.
way.
Mhm.
So then I'm like, yo, this is a good way. So before finalizing Bhagrav, I
Hmm.
searched Bhagrav.
Hmm.
I interchanged G and R in my
Hmm.
name, and that
Hmm.
was available.
Hmm.
And the next thing I did was go on GoDaddy and search bhagrav.com, and it
Oh,
was available. And I was
amazing.
like,
सही
done.
है.
Domain भी ले लिया, ये भी user ले लिया,
हाँ.
everywhere now it is Bhagrav.
Ah.
So if you search Bhagrav anywhere, I am
You
the
only
one.
you'll be the.
I
That's
think even
crazy.
on Twitter.
Hmm.
So after a while, that name started uh,
Hmm.
unavailable, started to be
अच्छा
unavailable.
अच्छा अच्छा.
So I think on Twitter, when I was not using Twitter much.
Hmm.
Recently I started.
Hmm.
So I searched Bhagrav and I think it was taken. I have
Oh.
to check if. So then I found another alternative. Yeah, it's taken. Bhagrav is
अच्छा.
taken.
Uh-huh.
So then I thought कि ये भी taken है. Now what do we do?
Hmm.
So I then started playing with the words.
अच्छा.
So now my Twitter is Bhag Raw.
अच्छा.
Instead
Okay.
of RAV, it's RAW.
Okay. Okay.
And
Good.
my thought was that like I'm trying to be raw on Twitter, so
Hmm.
it's Bhag
Hmm.
Raw.
Okay.
I used to put like intellectual thing on
सही है.
Twitter.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
Hmm. Makes
on
sense.
Twitter you can find me at the rate Bhagraw, Bhagraw.
Hmm.
On Instagram it's Bhargav.
Hmm.
My work portfolio is bhagrav.com, which I
Okay.
need to
Hmm.
redo the whole thing.
Hmm.
But yeah, mostly these two I'm available.
Amazing, amazing. So I
Alright.
think this is a juicy
So,
conversation. I think I get to know you a lot personally, and I'm happy with that. I don't really care whoever.
we
Uh,
we we were friends before, then we lost connect. I used
yeah,
to do my whole thing, you
yeah,
got
yeah,
into tech and everything.
yeah.
Then recently, now that you are settled and you are doing your own thing, now
Right.
you are doing more of other things also.
Yeah,
Like you were so into
yeah.
work,
Tech. I was
but
like
now
that.
you're relaxed, like you
Mm,
take more time off, you're
mm,
doing some other things also, now
absolutely.
you're doing podcast also.
Mm, mm.
So now we are connecting again.
Yeah,
So
I think
it's been a
that's the
long
way.
gap
Yeah.
where we did not know each other.
Right, makes sense. But I think very interesting conversation. I think we should do it
Even
often.
I'm surprised that this many things have been done, which I
Yeah,
never thought of.
exactly,
Now
exactly.
I
Mm,
recall them.
mm, makes sense.
Okay,
Anyway, so we'll just wrap this up now, and yeah, uh, thank you everyone, and yeah, that was Bhargav.
thank you so
We
much.
are just signing off now.
Great to be here.
Yeah.